Hello, and welcome everyone. This is your friend Harshan Rao. Special thanks to the seekers and distributors of financial and knowledge. Today, we are going to talk about how we can maintain credibility in the age of social media. Um, let's dive into the video straight away. I'll introduce the topic first. In today's digital society, the world of social media stands at a potent platform for interaction, information distribution, and influence. But with great power comes great responsibility. Central to this responsibility is the concept of credibility. This report seeks to unravel the idea of maintaining credibility on social media platforms, exploring its meaning, the critical importance, and strategies to foster and protect it. Second point, the essence of credibility. The first sub point, defining credibility in social media. Credibility, in its simplest form, is the quality of being trusted and believed. On social media, it signifies the trustworthiness of content or the entity sharing it, often built over time through consistent and accurate information sharing. Let's look at some examples. Consider the case of John, a gardening enthusiast. John creates a regular post on his organic gardening techniques, always citing his sources, for example, giving references for his sources, and occasionally sharing his failures alongside his successes. Over time, his followers grow to trust him his advice, viewing him as a credible figure in the gardening community. So that's how you can build your credibility on social media. Now let's look at the third main point, that is importance of understanding credibility. And the first sub point is the trust quotient. At the heart of every interaction or transaction in the digital space lies trust. For information to be impactful, readers or viewers must first believe in its authenticity. For example, let's consider a daily news called X. It's a very small but rising online news platform. During a significant global event, they resist the temptation to publish unverified breaking news, waiting for accurate details instead. When they eventually posted it, their information was spot on. Followers appreciated their accuracy, contrasting it with other platforms that hastily shared misleading details. So whenever you share anything on your social media, make sure that it's backed by references. It's from the real world. You're not claiming any false knowledge, and you should abide by the ethics of distributing of knowledge. Now, let's look at the next sub points. That is the dangers of misinformation. Misinformation can lead to real world consequences. This is what I was telling you guys when it comes to the ethicness of it. The loss of credibility doesn't only harm an individual's or an organization's reputation. It can lead to misguided actions by those who consume the information. So always be careful what you are sharing with your potential viewers, and provided it's backed by some real world examples. Let's look at an example for danger of misinformation. A celebrity claims on social media that a particular herbal concoction can cure a prevalent health ailment without scientific backing. Their vast numbers of followers believing this claim might forsake proven medical remedies, potentially leading to adverse health consequences. Understanding it better, like if we are looking at any specific audiences, then they follow their like cricket superstars, Bollywood superstars, Hollywood superstars, and they just buy some product just because it's been endorsed by a celebrity whom they follow or whom they like on social media without understanding the health benefits of that particular product, and neglecting the natural ways to kind of address that particular problem. So it's always a ethical responsibility of the person who is giving out that information, and the ethical binding is that that information should be true, not false, because there are your misinformation can have not only hamper your image but someone else's health as well. Now let's look at the fourth main point: cultivating and preserving credibility. Its first sub point is consistent authenticity. Consistency is being genuine and honest plays a pivotal role. Avoiding exaggerations, acknowledging mistakes, and being transparent about affiliations or biases can foster credibility. For example, an emerging food blogger named Lucy reviews eateries or restaurants. She transparently mentions where when her meals are sponsored. When she spots a mistake in one of her reviews, she promptly corrects it and acknowledges that oversight. Over time, her followers value her transparency, bolstering her credibility. Basically, what the example talks about is when Lucy started reviewing eateries, cafes, restaurants, and stuff. She did make it a point that whenever she found some flaw, she mentioned that flaw in her reviews. And eventually, when those same flaws were noticed by, let's consider, I'm a restaurant critic. I write a restaurant critic on my blog or on my newspaper editorial, and for example, you are reading it, and tomorrow it turns out to be that you have also gone to the same restaurant where I had gone and written that particular critic, and you also come across that particular problem. Let's say their food is too salty, for example. You also go to the same restaurant and you also find it, no, Harshil had mentioned in his critic that the food is out here salty, and you also feel the same way. Then automatically my credibility is reaches another high, because you understand that what I had mentioned in my critic is correct because you yourself have experienced it. So always writing the genuine things, what you really observe, having no biases, really helps you to build your credibility, which we saw in the case, in the example of Lucy's case. Now, next sub point is fostering a fact-checking culture. In the age of rapid information sharing, pausing to verify information before dissemination or distribution can make all the difference. Cultivating a habit of fact-checking and referencing credible sources can be a bulwark against misinformation. What does the point mention when it comes to understanding how to foster fast checking culture? I'll give you a personal example. When I was doing my masters, when we were already properly guided by our teachers that whenever you are writing any academic reports, once you're done and before you submit, always do read it again. So once you read it, that is very important. Sometimes while writing or typing, you don't understand that we have missed something. But eventually, when we proofread it, that's the term, proofread it, and we find that there's something missing here, or this construction of sentence is probably incorrect. Like the word used in a particular context might mean something else. So that's why proofreading is very important, and that's what the point out here mentions, that fostering a fact-checking culture, a person who or culture which instigates on fact-checking and proofreading should be fostered and should be nurtured so that it helps your organization. Let's take an example of this. Tech Talk, a technology-focused page, wants to share news about a new product launch. Instead of rushing to be the first, they verify the product specs from the company's official release, ensuring their post's accuracy and maintaining their reputation for reliability. So before claiming something, always be sure that whatever you're going to claim, is it the correct thing? Because again, as we spoke earlier, misinformation can be bad. Next sub point is open engagement and feedback reception. Engaging with one's audiences and being receptive to feedback, even if it's critical, can further enhance your credibility. Constructive dialogue can bridge understanding gaps and build community trust. For example, a local politician, Miss Brown, uses her social media to share her policy stances. When a follower points out her discrepancies in her last post, instead of ignoring or deflecting, she engages in a constructive conversation, explaining her position and thanking the follower for the perspective. This open engagement enhances her credibility among her constituents. So what Miss Brown did out here was by openly accepting some sort of a how do you say constructive feedback. I don't consider any feedback to be positive or negative. I always consider it to be a constructive feedback. So always listen to your clients. Always listen to your viewers. Depends upon what field of work you are in. So and take their feedback so you can improve yourself. And if this is seen by others, of course, then your visual credibility goes up. But even if you're doing this back in the back end, doesn't matter. Eventually, it will pay off, and your account will be considered as a credible source. We will move on to the conclusion part. In this vast and dynamic realm of social media, credibility stands as both a compass and an anchor, guiding interactions and grounding reputations. By understanding its nuances and actively working to nurture and protect it, users can navigate the digital landscape with integrity and impact. So, like we need to understand in today's time how to maintain credibility in the age of social media. Whatever I've provided you, I hope this helps you a lot. This brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to comment your views and suggestions. Thank you. See you next time.